in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, I really wanted to shed light on what it's like to be inside the mind of somebody with anxiety. I know it varies, it's different for everybody, and I am not here to romanticize or make any sort of comedic fun about panic attacks or what it's like to live with any sort of mental illness, but if I don't laugh and pick apart the things that used to trigger me, it just sits in like this dark side of my brain. And if I have an especially bad day and I go to just pick at those little memories, it will send me into a downward spiral. And I just think that for some reason, maybe saying it out loud for other people to see and share and relate to and message me and let's communicate about it, it would just help us feel like a little bit more not alone in this. I know so many people have reached out to me in the past and, you know, over my posts about anxiety when I was really struggling a couple years ago. Every time that I would open up and just be so straight up honest about what was actually going on inside of my head, people are blown away. People are blown away that we're all crazy and we all think these really weird things. If I could just give you my list of the things that made me, and I say made past tense is because I'm actually on my first ever antidepressant. I take Lexapro, I'll say it, I don't care for anyone to know that. It was my last resort and I can function now. Look at me. So I'm not saying medication works for everybody, but I will shout it from the rooftops. Medication works great for me. You know, meditation, exercise, yoga, mindfulness is just as important, and I'm really happy that they're pushing it on people. But if you feel like you just can't bear it anymore and you're not living a life that you would want for anyone else, let alone your children, go talk to someone, just see what your options are. So without any further hesitation, here is my condensed list of anxiety and panic triggers. This is a terrible one. Pregnancy. I don't know if you know, but I have 3 children. I'm 29 years old and I have 3 daughters, and I had all 3 of them in the same 5 years. It just one after another, it just got worse and worse and worse until the point where I found out I was pregnant with my 3rd and had a panic attack because I knew that around 5 months when they started moving, that the fetal movements would give me panic, anxiety. Like I remember standing in my kitchen in our house in Florida and I was 27 weeks pregnant with my 2nd child, Charlie, and my now brother-in-law actually was over and we were making burgers and I just felt one little movement and all of a sudden I felt trapped. I felt like, oh my God, get this baby out of me. I can't just take this baby out if I want to. And it just seemed like the walls were closing in on me because I legitimately felt trapped with a baby inside of me. Imagine that feeling combined with leftover postpartum anxiety from the first child from 2 years earlier, untreated, and put that together into just a lovely bundle of guilt. It's a nightmare. Being in a room without windows, of being in a small space, it's the thought of not being able to leave. If I start panicking, like I have no way to leave. And even worse, who's that crazy woman trying to leave in the middle of this meditation circle? This is supposed to be a Zen place. And here she is banging on the back door. Like, is this locked? Can I get out? I just like have to go get some water or something. If you suffer from anxiety, you are supposed to cut out all caffeine and processed foods and sugar. At one point, I could only drink half calf. And I used to work at Starbucks where we said death over decaf. So that was a low rock bottom point for me in my anxiety journey when I couldn't even drink coffee anymore. I had to switch to tea at one point, and then I was like, this isn't the same. Like I don't want fucking tea. Did you hear earlier when I said I was a mom? I want coffee. I want sugar bean water. I miss sugar bean water. Spontaneous plans. There was a time when I was younger where I would make one phone call and I would have 45 people in my house. Full rager. I loved those days. Best days of my life. I love my kids, but don't tell them I said that. The older I got and the more children I had, my husband would come home and be like, hey, my coworker invited us to a cookout. I wouldn't even ask when. I would just say, no. I would start a fight because I was so anxious about thinking of having to get ready to go and be around people without being able to express how crazy I really felt all of the time. My flushed skin and my racing heart and my throat closing and my weird yawn thing that I do when I'm like really panicked. So yeah, I just missed out on a lot of stuff that I could have been doing, and I can't get that time back. So we're working really hard on, you know, being spontaneous parents and setting good, healthy examples for how much fun life really can be. So we grew up in Florida, and I'm sure most of you know that because we're all friends, and you guys probably all still live in Florida. Florida sucks. You know, rainy season is in the summertime, and you can expect between 3 and 3:45 p.m. that you will have just like mini monsoons. And it was so normal. I learned how to drive in them. Literally, I learned how to drive when I was 15, like in monsoon, so I'm still a bad driver. Women drivers, am I right? So you would think that growing up, moving to anywhere else, knowing damn well that it rains everywhere, that I would be used to occasional thunderstorms. That was not the case. We moved to North Carolina, and one summer night, there was not even a big one. It was like a 5-minute band of mediocre lightning and thunder. The fact that I couldn't control the weather just sent me into just a fucking living nightmare. To top it off, our power went out. It was just me and my cat and my husband and the glow of my cell phone because nothing else was charged and we had no service. So I was just playing Candy Crush on my phone just to have anything going on around me, because back then that's all I could do was just hyper distract myself as many ways as I could to avoid feeling like I was literally going to rip my clothes off and run down the street, leaving my children and my husband behind. Anybody else? Oh, just me? That's fine. There's gotta be someone out there that feels like I do. Now, I feel like this one actually people might agree with because it's pretty common. Outer space. And not aliens, because if they are out there, fucking welcome. Please come help us. The thought of being a speck on a calendar that's billions of years long, I can't even. When you're a kid and you're laying outside with your friends or your mom or your grandma and they're like, oh, let's go look at the clouds. I'm like, no, I really don't want to do that. Like, I was 7 years old and I knew that something was out there, and the thought of being literally a flea on a dog that's getting eaten by a dinosaur that's also getting eaten, that, oh my God, I can't even talk about it now. And I feel like I was ready to talk about it, but I don't think I am. Oh yeah, I just wanted you guys to know that even though I walked around and you were like, she's cool, she's really weird, cool, God, she is so weird. I was bad off. I was bad off. So thank you to everybody in my life that has shown so much support and understanding when I randomly had to leave a room or make an excuse to go to the car or just didn't want to hang out that day. Thank you, because that's all you can really do is just offer support. Even if you don't understand it, just be there. See you, you're going through something and it looks like it sucks. So I'm sorry, what can I do for you? I'm gonna make you a floor bed, come lay with me. You want me to leave the room? Do you wanna be in my house? Do you want me to leave the room? I will do anything to help anyone not feel the way that I did for 21 years. If you have any similar experiences or stories or triggers, or you think you can top my list, which, I mean, I'm sure someone can, but it felt like literally Armageddon to me for my whole life. So making up for lost time now. Thank you guys.